What's going on, guys? HP from HP Speed here. Today I have my 2008 Ford Escape 3-liter V6, and I'm going to be replacing the fuel filter on this vehicle as well as some other components. But fuel filter needs to be done. Has about 180,000 miles and it has not been replaced yet, I'm assuming. So in order to improve miles per gallon, fuel efficiency while driving, this is definitely something that needs to be replaced. Let's get after it. Fuel filter is going to be located on the driver's side, kind of midpoint right behind that passenger door. It's located right underneath. I can probably get to it without lifting it up, but probably going to recommend lifting it up just so I have enough wiggle room to work around. Going to make sure the vehicle is in park. Going to go ahead and push down our e-brake. Alright, so looking at our Micron box, we can tell this is going to be our fuel filter. Make sure that you're adhering to the flow markings. That way your fuel goes to the engine and it doesn't get stopped up by the diaphragm. That's only one way. It did give us actually some disconnect tools. Now I do have my own. These simply are going to slide on this part of the line because the hose is going to be attached here. And we'll fish that kind of towards the connector and then it'll slide it right off to kind of flange it out. So I have some aluminum ones that I'm actually going to go ahead and use instead because it's a little more durable. I'm also going to grab a drip tray, some glasses to make sure no fuel splashes my eyes, as well as some gloves. Alright, now I got my glasses so no fuel splashes my eyes. I've got my little catch pan right there. I also have a 10mm nut to remove the actual band that secures the filter to the car, as well as a 5/16 aluminum quick disconnector for a fuel flange line, right? I also have a 10mm because there's also an additional harness that holds the fuel filter there. We'll get to that in a little bit. Let's get underneath the car and get this replaced. Alright, so a couple things we have to do first. We have to remove these little secure clips that hold the line or keep it from backing out. They're very simple to remove. Just going to go ahead and pull up on the back right there and they fall right out. Let's make sure those are far enough away so they don't interfere with our work, like so. We're just going to put them or feed them a little bit down the line, that way they're really out of the way. Now that they are removed and kind of out of the way, we're going to go ahead and take our 8mm bolt and remove this. Try to get it as loose as possible. Alright, so now she is loose. And we also have one more additional 10mm bolt here and on the back side here. Looks like I might need an extension so I don't have to actually work to get to it, because I could probably get to this one but I can't get to that one. With our two 10mm bolts removed, let's place those to the side. Now that we have the filter loosened out of the way, let's see if we can get this bracket off right quick. Looks like we'll have to remove the band as well. Alright, we'll set those aside. Now that we have our filter loose, let's go ahead and grab our drain pan. Now we're going to go ahead and start working on these fittings. Now that we got our fittings on, let's go ahead and put them on there. So it's very simple. You just go ahead and clasp it around. We're going to wiggle it on the inside. Now be careful because you are going to get a bit of spray. Trying to get as much on you as possible. Go ahead and let some of that fuel drain on out. So there is a bit of a trick to it. Whenever you get this line in there and you clamp it around, you want to push towards it and also push this line towards it as well, and then eventually once you see that it seats very well, you pull away. Remember the orientation. Looks like we have a lip right here that's going to be facing this way towards the driver's side. Round end is going to be facing that way. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Alright, now that we have our new filter, let's just go ahead and compare for size, make sure that we're relatively the same size, and they are. Look near identical. The fittings also look the same. Always important to check this because if you end up putting the wrong filter on, could be hazardous to your vehicle. Go ahead and take our ridged edge, which we know faces this way, push it towards until it clicks, and we have a good click. Now let's go ahead and do the opposite side, just like that. Easy as pie. Now let's go ahead and get our connector holders on. Go ahead and get it right about there. And we're going to push the two forks in, and then we're going to snap back just like that. Forks in first, and then push just like that. So now they are secure. Now let's go ahead and get our bracketing and refit our bracketing back on. Now getting our bracketing on, fairly simple. Let's go ahead and put our main bracket on first, just like that. And we're gonna go ahead and fish this through. So now that we have our bracketing on there, let's go ahead and secure this band first, and then we'll go ahead and do our 10 millimeters. So I don't want to secure that screw clamp because I want to make sure we have some wiggle room. Let's start getting our 10 millimeters kind of fished in. Probably the left side first because that is the easier to want to access, and then we'll get the right side. Left side has been threaded on, so let's get our other side. I recommend, even if you're using power tools, to go ahead and get it on the socket and loosely thread it by hand first. Then we'll come back in with our electric ratchet and zip it down. Now with both of our 10 millimeter bolts tight, we have the last finishing touch. Now, it is important to make sure that your filter is up against that little rib right there, just like that. Make sure it's flush and tighten down your screw clamp. Now let's double check back our work. Our bracket is secure, our band clip is tight, and our fitting holders are secure as well. So we're good there. We have a couple more steps. Let's go ahead and lower the vehicle off the jack stands, and I'll meet you in the cabin. And let's prime it one more time before starting. All right, sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and try and start it. Fires right up. Now, what can we expect with replacing a fuel filter? Your vehicle has to work less hard to get that just from changing your fuel filter. And that's how to replace your fuel filter on your Ford Escape in no time flat. Stay tuned. I'm going to go ahead and be replacing the sway bar end links in the next video.